the island of Phuket. A jewel in the crown of Thailand's coastal resorts. Its blue waters and palm-fringed beaches have made it a magnet for tourism, fueling an economic surge that began in the late 20th century. But the deadly tsunami of 2004 swept away all of its economic aspirations and grand developments. This tragedy, though, inspired the island's authorities to prioritise their rebuilding, giving the island city the opportunity to reinvent itself into a new, sustainable and environmentally friendly paradise. Asia is booming. Its population nearly quadrupled within a century. These boomtowns are fueled by more than human or natural resources. Radical innovations are making them livable and sustainable. But the challenge of achieving these innovations can be tough, and the answers are never straightforward. This is Asianopolis, a city built from renewable energy and sustainable materials. In a land-scarce future, buildings would have to be constructed on almost any surface. This is the Mountain Rock House, a structure that's anchored right onto the rock face of a steep cliff. The Mountain Rock House takes advantage of an extreme landscape by incorporating it into its architecture. Innovative construction methods like this are commonplace in 25th century Asianopolis. Developments that took their cue from the 21st century. Phuket, an island oasis on the west coast of Thailand. An exotic mecca for holiday revelers who travel from all over the world to indulge in its beauty. From the crowded sands of Patong Beach to the serenity of Coron's waterfronts, Phuket offers something for everyone. But a decade ago, tragedy struck. Phuket was swept by scenes of utter chaos and destruction during the 2004 tsunami. Over 800 people were killed, 1,000 injured, with the cost of damages amounting to over 170 million US dollars. Despite this turmoil, Phuket has found a way to boom once again. The island has rapidly rebuilt itself, with many organisations recognising both the opportunity and the need to develop in a sustainable manner. Seek, an NGO in Phuket, is actively encouraging more developers to practice responsible construction.
Phuket now, they understand how important about sustainability. And of course, they want to secure good environment, not for only their own guests, but for local people too.
This desire for sustainable development has seen many organisations join the crusade. In 2010, Adrian McCarroll of architecture firm Original Vision was involved in one such project. This is Villa Amanzi, a 3-storey, 6-bedroom villa located in the exclusive estate of Kamala. Sustainable features such as rainwater harvesting and bamboo flooring set this architecture apart. But what makes this villa truly extraordinary is its location. It sits on a rock face and offers breathtaking views of the Andaman Sea.
Part of the enduring success of the villa is that people love going there. It's also very comfortable, but at the same time, awesome.
But building a structure on a steep cliff can be a hazardous affair. Changes to the landscape can lead to deadly consequences.
Construction in the hilltop or in the steep slope is called big trouble there because the erosion starts from the hilltop. In December last year, got one resort in Patong. It's located on very steep slope and just collapsed on the local people's house.
Adrian needed to find a way to minimize change to the landscape while constructing the villa. The site was dominated by a large boulder of rock, which, if removed, could have compromised the structural integrity of the land. But instead of seeing the rock as a problem, Adrian made it part of the big picture.
And the idea was, wouldn't it be great to build something that perches on that rock and actually uses the rock as a reference point all the way down to the water?
What Adrian was looking for was a way to build the villa on and against the rock face, using it as both a base and a wall. But this meant construction became a very complicated affair.
So the biggest problem was to actually start the construction, finding somewhere that was level, where the workers could actually work from, until they built a platform big enough to be able to get a compressor on there and get some power tools down there to start actually the excavation proper.
It took the team 5 months to secure the platforms and the foundation. Now came the construction proper, but the decision to leave the rock uncompromised meant that even the simplest tasks become mission impossible.
Even though we started managing to build platforms up from it, it's getting the materials from the nearest reasonably good road to the platforms that was a problem.
This difficulty in overcoming the terrain meant that getting in prefabricated parts was not going to be possible. So the team had no choice but to construct everything on site, including the phalangeal frames, an important element of the bedroom wing. Unlike traditional brace structures, which use a diagonal beam to provide support, phalangeal frames make use of specially crafted rigid joints. These joints allow the frames to provide unobstructed views of the sea. But creating these frames requires utmost precision. If Adrian's team makes even the slightest miscalculation in the process, the results could be catastrophic.
The risk with a Virendale frame is if the frame has not been designed properly and one of those joints fails, the whole thing can come tumbling down.
A special team of South African engineers were brought in to aid the construction. With their knowledge and 8 months of labour, the villa was successfully completed in late 2010. 3 levels, 6 bedrooms, a living room, dining room and a swimming pool, each commanding a jaw-dropping view. Villa Amanzi, as it stands today, is a perfect example of what can be achieved when design is used to work with and not against the surrounding environment, with the rock cliff playing the starring role in the architecture.
As you can see, it cascades down all the way down these stairs until it comes down and actually becomes a wall of the house itself. So from the living space down into the family room, we once again touch this slab of rock. The rock once again becomes a very familiar partner. Now we're coming out the bottom of the house, as it were, and this rock is the same rock that greeted us and we touched when we entered the house.
This exercise in working with nature instead of against it has helped Villa Amanzi turn a problem into a solution. And in another part of Phuket, another resort has found a different way of using nature to make up for the lack of one of life's most essential elements. In Asianopolis, the city of the future, every conceivable means of water production has been investigated. And one of the most innovative makes use of a common natural resource. This is the rain harvester. Located on the top of buildings, these structures funnel rainwater in and filter it into clean drinking water, allowing each building to be self-sustaining in their water management. Rain harvesters like this are found all over Asianopolis. Initiatives that could be traced back to events in 21st century Phuket. Being an island, Phuket doesn't have the same amenities that mainland Thailand has. Of the difficulties it faces, water management is very much in the forefront of its challenges.
The problem here is we don't have enough rain catchment area. It's not enough to serve, this high tourism and high development.
One of the ways that the island has quenched the thirst of its guests is to bring in tons of plastic bottles of mineral water. But this solution is a problem in itself. The empty bottles pile up and contribute to overall waste. These problems are being faced by all of Phuket's resorts, but for some, the challenges are far greater. They are located far off the beaten track, which makes collecting water even more challenging. But this remoteness is exactly what the resort's guests are looking for. The Six Senses Yanoi is a luxurious 5-star resort nestled on a small island off the coast of Phuket. Located in the beautiful bay of Phang Na, this establishment has some of the most stunning and panoramic views of the landscape. With 56 villa rooms built over 24 acres, this resort offers the privacy and luxury the guests are looking for, all centered on a core principle of sustainability.
There are many sustainable activities we have. For example, a lot of the timber which is used was taken from old railway track in Burma. So all the sleepers they used again to build our stairs, reuse, recycle in a way. So this is a great initiative.
And it was this belief that prompted Six Senses to look at a sustainable way of providing water for its guests. In 2003, they approached Kurt Apel, founder of Eco Pure Waters, an establishment that specializes in water treatment. Kurt has worked all over the world in areas where water amenities aren't readily available. So Kurt draws instead on what nature provides in abundance.
Well, the water can come from really two places: deep well water or even water catchment systems.
Using Kurt's expertise, wells were dug in the Six Senses estate to provide easy access to water. A big catchment area was built as well to collect rain, but all this water is unfit for drinking. What was needed was a method of filtering out the impurities and making the water safe for consumption. The answer lay in reverse osmosis. This semi-permeable membrane is so fine that only water molecules can pass through, leaving fresh, clean water on one end and the contaminants on the other. In 2008, Kurt set up a reverse osmosis plant within the Six Senses resort, an automated unit that's capable of converting 2,500 litres of rain and well water into almost as many litres of safe drinking water.
All the water is coming from the rainwater catchment and the well water. Then it comes in through our high pressure system. As you can see, this is the incoming water here, the dirty water, which proceeds through the high pressure pump that squeezes the water through tiny, tiny membranes that can filter 99.9% of all the bacteria. And this is the drinking water that continues on through our process here.
The water then goes to a storage tank before being filtered even further. 3 additional cycles of filtration remove any residual impurities before ultraviolet treatment rids the water of all bacteria. But as necessary as this process is, it has a negative side effect. All minerals which are beneficial for health are now stripped from the water. To counter this problem, Kurt engineered a unique attachment to the unit, a final filter, but this one adds minerals back into the water.
After a lot of research, we came up with this technology and put calcium, magnesium, and iron back in the water. And the technology is basically called remineralization.
The end product is crystal clear water, laden with minerals. And Kurt's system is so well designed that it even has a touch of luxury.
We went with higher technology to put in a carbonating system. This way, if a guest requires sparkling water, you can serve them the sparkling water. So there's now a still water and a sparkling water, better than Perrier.
The last step in the process is packaging the water. And even here, sustainable methods are duly practiced.
My bottles are made from 50% recycled glass, and they're reusable.
In a day, around 500 bottles of water can be filled and given to all the guests of Six Senses. A remarkable outcome for a resort that has no access to water amenities.
we were able to reduce our waste. And we will reduce the carbon emission and basically do something good for Mother Planet.
More resorts are recognizing the need to adopt similar practices.
The main thing about sustainability in businesses, we don't start to change our world now. There's not going to be a world to live in. The great George Carlin said that we as a civilization, we're going to go away, but the planet's always going to be here.
But water isn't the only resource in Phuket that poses problems. Electricity is a necessity as well for all resorts, and some have turned to alternate ways of generating their own power. In Asianopolis, solar-powered structures are commonplace, and some don't even require land on which to operate. The Solar Marine Villa is a solar-powered building which floats on water and is completely self-sustaining. Combining photovoltaic cells with aesthetic design, this villa illustrates how sustainable energy generation can power structures with no access to the electricity grid. Unique architectures like this could ply the equatorial waters of Asianopolis, a sustainable development that culminated from events in the 21st century. In the years that have followed since the 2004 tsunami, tourism has once again picked up in Phuket. And many of the popular resorts have become congested with human traffic once again, especially during high season. But discerning travellers these days are on the lookout for a more exclusive experience, avoiding the crowds and searching for a private, exotic location. Villas like 98 East cater to this ever-increasing demand. Located at the summit of a hill and overlooking the Andaman Sea, this 6-bedroom villa, which was built in 2010, is always in high demand.
Most of our guests, they are quite private. They want to be far away from Patong, they want to be far away from hustle and bustle, they want to have a private moment, and this is what this place offers.
This remoteness gives the guests the private experience they crave. But this exclusivity also brings huge problems. The more remote the area, the harder it is to connect to one of the most basic of amenities, electricity.
Being far away, we're not connected to the electricity grid. We hope we could actually have proper electricity.
Instead of using conventional diesel generators to power the villa, the focus was placed on sustainable energy. The plan was to use solar power to run the villa, and Claude Feller was sought to provide his expertise.
Solar energy is basically the one energy that can be catched for free, same like hydropower or wind power, and it's the most common type of energy in the world now.
The sun has been providing light and heat throughout history. And in this discharge lies an abundance of power. When the sun's energy is harnessed, it can achieve remarkable results. Photovoltaic cells have been around for over half a century and are made of materials called semiconductors, like silicon. When light strikes the cell, its energy is absorbed into the semiconductor, knocking electrons loose, allowing them to travel along the circuit to create a current, which is used to power a range of devices. And these cells have developed to such an extent that they can be used to produce enough electricity to run an entire building. By 2008, the structure of 98 East was complete, and it was now time for Claude to go to work. But the unique architecture of the villa brought about complications during the installation of the cells.
The problems by the installation was we had to install all the panels on a pergola, and pergolas couldn't carry enough weight. Had to put some wood panels on the pergola, and we could only walk there, yeah. And we had to find the workers from Myanmar. They weighed only 50 kilos, so it was more easy for them to install this.
Finally, after 2 months, the installation was complete. A solar array that can generate an average of 80 kilowatt hours of electricity a day.
We have here more than 100 panels. On a nice day as now, big sun, power output, it's enough us to power the whole villa.
In addition to the installations on the roof, solar cells are located in the garden as well. This structure pivots throughout the day to maximize the exposure of the cells to the sun. But come nightfall, the cells cease to function, leaving the villa void of electricity. But rather than resorting to diesel generators, Claude implemented a system which held reserves of energy.
Welcome at the battery room. Here inside we have 100 batteries. Each one weighs 80 kilo. Each one of the batteries is a 2-volt cell. Each one has 1000 ampere hour, which makes them 2 kilowatt hour.
All excess electricity that's generated in the day gets transferred to large battery cells, which release energy at night when needed. This entire system is fully automated, with even a modem to allow online access to the system.
I'm on my laptop and I can control the performance of the power barn on the roof as well of the battery rooms. As early morning I could check the batteries here and the batteries were full, maybe half, 50%. As now in the late afternoon the batteries are charged 95%. It means we have enough power here to make a party tonight. Yeah?
Thanks to solar energy, 98 East has now found a way to generate electricity while reducing its carbon footprint.
Traditionally, people use diesel engine to release carbon, so the world will be polluted. But not us. We release positive energy.
Sustainable initiatives like this are trending all over Phuket, as more establishments are joining environmental watchdogs SEEK in the campaign for sustainable developments.
It's essential for Phuket to become the leader on sustainability, because after the tsunami, like the world eyes on Phuket. I must admit that now Phuket is a better place because they start thinking about sustainability. Hotels, they think more about not only their business but also the community and environment around them.
With sustainability now very much in its mindset, Phuket has changed its very nature. More than just an exotic holiday destination with stunning beaches and glorious scenery, it has now become a model of how a boomtown can continue to successfully flourish without putting a strain on Mother Nature, modelling itself as a future green and successful Asianopolis. Japan, where old and new coexist and innovation never stops. Located in the Pacific Ring of Fire, deadly earthquakes continually threaten to cripple the very foundation of this country. In the Fukuoka prefecture in the southwest of Japan, inventive minds are racing to develop sustainable technologies that can ensure their nation's security. Can this boomtown do it in time before the next earthquake hits? Asia is booming. Its population nearly quadrupled within a century. These boomtowns are fueled by more than human or natural resources. Radical innovations are making them livable and sustainable. But the challenge of achieving these innovations can be tough, and the answers are never straightforward. This is Asianopolis, a future megacity that could be home to millions of people. A 25th century smart city that integrates every element of its infrastructure into a single symbiotic network. But while future technologies could bring mankind to the apex of civilization, one thing will always elude man's control: Mother Nature. With millions living so densely, risks from natural disasters are multiplied. These are the city's last line of defense. Rescue robots that can save lives and get the city back on its feet quickly. A technological innovation that was made in a country at the frontier of robotics development. Japan, the bustling land of innovation. Home to robots of all manner of shape, size and function. Paving the way for robotics research worldwide is Tumsuk, one of the largest robotics companies in Japan, based in Fukuoka city.
Robotics is a very complicated technology. To make a robot, we need many items and technologies. Tumsuk is the integrator of these technologies.
Since its inception, Tumsuk has developed a wide range of highly advanced robots.
We studied first the market, what they need. So far, they have already developed over 30 robots.
From robots for dental training to automated wheelchairs for the disabled, Tumsuk's robotics research has always been for the benefit of society. In 1995, a devastating earthquake struck the city of Kobe. Thousands perished, and even more were injured, including firefighters. It was this disaster that motivated Tumsuk to develop rescue robots.
The robot can do things that human can do, but that's too dangerous to do.
Rescue robots could prevent unnecessary injury to human firefighters, and at the same time help maximize rescue efforts.
2011年に日本で起きた東日本大震災などではやっぱり放射線とかが出てなかなか人間が簡単に入れないようなところがあったと思うので、そういう時に救助ロボットっていうのがあったら大変便利だったんじゃないかなというふうには思います。
In 2007, Tumsuk launched the Enryu T53, a third-generation search and rescue machine that has maximum maneuverability for emergency operations.
人が行って危ない目に遭うんだったらロボットがその代わりになって何とか人の役に立ちたいと。
Yasutoshi Kume is one of 6 Tumsuk developers who worked on the robot. In its 7-year development, the team had consulted academics and firefighters to ensure the best possible design. One of the robot's key features is its wireless capability. Cameras installed on its head and arms allow it to be controlled remotely.
遠隔操作で動かすことができますから、いわゆる危険な作業場に実際にレスキュー隊員が行かなくても遠隔操作の作業ができて、結果的にレスキュー隊員の命を守るということができます。
Its compact size also allows it to go into areas too tight for human workers, and its radiation-resistant coating allows it to perform hazardous tasks, such as dealing with toxic waste. But the T-53's most impressive features are its arms. Each arm can be independently controlled, capable of making complex multi-directional movements. These limbs also pack formidable muscle power.
まず人間がやって持ち上がらないような重たいもの、例えば200キロ、300キロのものを持ち上げることができます。
Just months after its launch, the T-53 was called to the Niigata earthquake site to aid recovery efforts. Since then, a few of the rescue robots have been deployed for official duty at a nearby fire station. Despite its obvious merits, this rescue robot still lacks one thing: human sensitivity. While the T-53 is no replacement for humans, it remains a promising glimpse into how emergency services could work in the future. Research in artificial intelligence in Japan has broken tremendous ground in recent years. With a growing number of socially intelligent robots that can interact with humans. Paro is one such example. After the 2011 tsunami, elderly survivors suffering from post-traumatic stress were given the SEAL robot as part of their therapy. Equipped with all 5 senses, Paro brought comfort to the survivors. it was able to respond to their voice and touch with reassuring actions and emotions. In Japan, intelligent robots are already making their way out of science fiction and into reality. And a future in which these machines become our equals may come a lot sooner than we think. Rescue robots that possess both the strength of machines and the intelligence of human beings could be the future of emergency services. But natural disasters put more than just human lives at risk. And in 2011, the destruction of one fundamental resource brought Japan to its knees. In 25th century Asianopolis, this could be a common sight. Ships powered by wind. Not with sails, but with wind turbines, integrated into the very design of the ship. These turbines have special rims that allow them to generate more than enough power. It's predicted that fossil fuels may be completely depleted within 60 years. For a country like Japan, time is running out. The risks of its other energy lifeline, nuclear power, far outweigh its benefits. Since the nuclear disaster in 2011, Japan has been in a power crisis.
そのためにはいろんな再生可能エネルギーとか自然エネルギーをうまくミックスしていかないといけない。
Renewable energy is Japan's best solution. And Professor Yuji Oya at Kyushu University believes one resource might be the salvation the country is looking for.
日本でも風力発電、風力エネルギーのポテンシャルが一番大きいということが分かっているわけです。だからやはり風力を使わない手はないでしょうと。
Japan's wind resources have the potential to generate 1.9 billion kilowatt hours of electricity. But implementing wind energy on a large scale is problematic. In this densely populated nation, land is severely limited. Less than 25% of Japan is habitable, and wind farms require a lot of space.
風力産業は日本は狭くて山国ですからあんまり風車立てるとこないでしょうと。
But the professor believes he has a solution that can make wind farms more feasible by increasing the speed of the wind. Manipulating wind this way would enable smaller wind turbines to generate more power. To do this, the professor has developed an innovative solution. A wind lens, a simple accessory that can be attached to existing wind turbines.
たくさんのモデルを作って、どんな形、どんな風なものが一番風を呼び込めるかというのをトライしたんですよね。で、その結果生まれてきたのがこの形なんですけど。
Wind flows from high pressure to low pressure. The protruding brim of the wind lens disturbs the flow of the wind, creating turbulence that lowers the pressure at the back of the turbine, causing wind to flow through the lens at a faster speed.
今その風車はよく世界中で見られるダウンウィンド型の風車の典型的なものです。
In this setup, the turbine is producing just 13 watts of power. But once the wind lens is attached, wind speeds increase.
これが出力です。約2倍近くぐらいまで上がります。
With this lens, wind turbines can shrink, needing blades only 2/3 the original size to generate the same amount of power. And if applied on a large scale, Professor Oya believes he can make wind energy more affordable than nuclear power.
400キロワットぐらいのここにあるのの30倍ぐらい大きいですね。風車をデザインしてるんですけれど、それくらいまで大きくなるとかなり実用的になります。キロワットアワーのコストが随分下がります。
On top of generating affordable energy, the professor's wind lens also comes with additional benefits. Noise pollution from conventional wind turbines is about the same as a small jet engine. But with the wind lens, turbines are almost silent and can be installed in residential areas. And nets can be wrapped around the turbine, preventing birds from getting caught.
"これからの地球にとっては安全なというのが一番のキーワードです。もし原発がエラーを起こせばもう地球は終わりです。でもこういう風車が1台エラーを起こして沈んでもああそれではさようならねというぐらいでそれで済みます。
As an alternative to nuclear power, Professor Oya's wind lens is quickly catching on. In Fukuoka city, there are already 3 onshore installations of lens-fitted turbines. But the professor has bigger plans.
それに特に日本とか東南アジアの国々は海に面してますでしょ。沿岸から沖合に出ると今博多湾で実証試験してますがもう風が数割高くなります。数十%。
The university has recently deployed an experimental wind farm in the seas around Kyushu Island. These farms can not only harness the stronger winds of the outer seas, but also solar energy, and potentially even wave and thermal energy.
つまりそういう自然エネルギー機器っていうのは場所を取りますから一つのエリアでなるべくたくさんの自然エネルギーを取り込んで日本中にたくさん並べればエネルギーをローカルエリアとしてスマートに使うことができるわけです。エネルギーのいわゆる地産地消です。
Professor Oya's wind lens might just save Japan from its energy crisis and help refocus its power infrastructure on renewable energy. However, Japan's energy sources also need to be diverse. And in the nearby city of Kitakyushu, a radical new fuel is making its way to the fore as another source of power. In 25th century Asianopolis, all facets of life could be powered by renewable sources, one of which is this solar hydrogen plant. Artificial leaves mimic photosynthesis to turn water vapor into hydrogen, which is used to power homes, industries, and hydrogen-powered vehicles of the future. Such an extensive use of hydrogen could be possible because of forward-thinking initiatives of the 21st century. In Japan, one of the largest energy consumers in the world. To reduce its dependency on fossil fuels, Japan has long relied on nuclear energy. Until 2011, when a 9-magnitude earthquake and tsunami hit the country and caused one of the largest nuclear disasters in history. Operation of nuclear plants came to a screeching halt, including those in the Fukuoka prefecture on Kyushu Island. To prevent electricity shortages, old power plants were reactivated. It was a quick fix that came at a cost. Carbon emissions jumped significantly, along with the price of electricity. Fukuoka needed a more sustainable energy solution, and an ongoing experiment by the government may hold the answer. Hydrogen, a clean-burning fuel and the most abundant gas on the planet.
水素の場合ですと、使うときに全く二酸化炭素を出さないという非常に大きなメリットがあります。
This is the hydrogen town of Kitakyushu, an experimental testbed for a full-scale hydrogen infrastructure. Launched in 2011, it's part of an initiative by the Japanese government to prove the viability of hydrogen fuel.
水素というのは今まで使われていなかったエネルギーですので、今のある石油、それから都市ガス、そういったものに変わっていくという形を考えるとですね、インフラを今から作っていかなきゃいけないということで、一からインフラを作るというところが一番大きな課題になるかなというふうに思っております。
However, hydrogen fuel needs to be manufactured. Natural hydrogen exists too high in the atmosphere to be extracted. But for Kitakyushu, hydrogen is a byproduct of its primary industry, steel making.
製鉄所から出てくる水素というのは非常にたくさんの量がありますので、使おうと思えば十分賄えるだけの量があります。
Over 500 million cubic meters of hydrogen waste is generated each year, making the city an ideal location for an experiment of this magnitude. Hydrogen waste from a steel factory is first refined and then distributed through 1.2 kilometers of high-pressure gas pipes, supplying residential homes, commercial properties, public buildings, fuel stations, and hydrogen-powered vehicles. This is the first attempt in the world to supply hydrogen via pipeline. To generate power, these buildings have been fitted with special lungs that can turn hydrogen into electricity. Fuel cells. Facilitated by a catalyst, hydrogen molecules split into positive and negative ions. Positive ions combine with oxygen to form water, while negative ions flow out, generating an electric current.
それとその時に発電する時に熱も出ますので、それを使いましてお湯を沸かして、それをお風呂とかあと炊事などで使っております。
Any excess electricity is sold back to the national grid.
ここはですね、あくまでも商業化、ビジネスにするためのモデルとしてやっておりますので、ここで実用的になるようなモデルを作って全国あるいは世界に展開していきたいというふうに思っております。
However, implementing such an extensive hydrogen infrastructure did not come without challenges. This miracle fuel has a catch.
高圧パイプが今この自分が住んでる町の地下を通ってるってことは実際自分は知らなかったですね。はい、水素はやっぱり空気に触れると爆発すると聞いたことがあるので、普通の車よりは危険だと思います。
Leaks from the pipeline can put everyone in the town at risk. To prevent this, project planners had to design a number of safety features into the system. For added protection, a sealing sheet is laid on top of the hydrogen pipe. To monitor for any pipe disruptions and possible leaks, surveillance cameras and optic fiber sensors are installed. And because hydrogen is odorless, the gas is odorized at the beginning to further ensure leaks are easily detected. The fuel is then deodorized before reaching consumers. While concerns over the safety of hydrogen continue to persist, Kitakyushu has nevertheless benefited from the project. Hydrogen from the steel factory generated close to 500,000 kilowatt hours of power, supplying 18% of the town's energy and reducing carbon dioxide emissions by 330,000 kilograms.
この水素というのは電気と熱という形で各家庭に供給されてますので、特に使われる方というのは普通の生活、普通の電気と同じように使われているということで、違和感なく使ってらっしゃるというのが実態です。ただその中でそういったことで環境に寄与している、貢献しているということを非常に意識されてますので、そういったことでは喜んでいただいております。
そういう水素の研究とかが今進んでいる地球温暖化とかそういうのに貢献できるならできる研究だと思うので、それは確かに危険だとは思うんですけど、どんどん進めていっていいと思ってます。
The hydrogen city of Kitakyushu could be the model for clean, eco-friendly cities of the future. It is still an experimental fuel, but hydrogen is proving to be a remarkable new source of energy that could help Japan become resilient to the debilitating effects of natural disasters. Japan is seen as a wonderland of technological wizardry, and the region of Fukuoka is a prime example. Tirelessly inventive and forward-thinking, it sets the standard for sustainable cities of the future, balancing technological aspirations with a healthy dose of social and environmental responsibility. With its clean energy projects and innovative robotics, Fukuoka is on the up and up, paving the way for other boomtowns on the rise.